Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another video. Today we're going to get started on the Bandai Tamashii smoke effect, which I believe is the white color. I'm pretty sure they're going to probably do these in other colors. I hope they do. These actually came out really nice, and it's an excellent companion piece on what you can do. Just to be clear, I bought more than 2 sets, but I'm only going to showcase 2 sets here. This is one complete set, and then I'm going to use 2 to show you how I incorporate it or would incorporate it into my photography. So let's get to it. We have, what is it, 5 pieces? Yeah, 5 pieces here. We have our very large smoke effect. We have the whittle down effect to show in the foreground or background, depending on what you do it with. And then we have smaller dust-like chase effects. Now, let's start with our large effect. This is probably going to be the biggest one that stands out. It's one solid piece, has the most weight of all out of it. I really do like this piece. And I'm going to bring figures in to showcase like the kind of things I would do to it. But as you can see, it's not just a one-sided thing. You can face it left or right, depending on if you're looking at me from this way or vice versa, things like that. You have the opening here. You can, light passes through really beautiful through these two. So let me actually show you, bring out one of my lights. It's on red, so as you can see here, when light passes through it, it changes to that color, which is very, very helpful in photography. Or videography, depending on what you're gonna do, right? But yeah, really nice. Then we have our smaller effect. This one has a little bit more elasticity to it. We have our beautiful another effect. Again, when you pose it either way, left or right, you will get different types of looks out of it. And then you can shoot it on your own too. Then we have a smaller dash effect, which could be seen with somebody running, or wind whooshing or smoke moving in the direction of left or right. It's a little curvature to it as well too. We have another larger effect, which seems like I said, depending on how it is, but there is a curvature to it, which kind of does stow this direction. Then we have another smoke effect here. This is probably, these two are probably going to be the smallest ones, but as you can see, when you put them side by side like this, they do get a nice little dust settling effect. Same with this one. Now, depending on how you put figures in this or what you want to do with it, you will get a bunch of different things out of it, right? So I don't really know where to begin because there's a bunch of figures here that I can figure to do to it. But you know what? Let's start. Let's actually, because I'm about to start his video next. Here we are with the Mafex Eradicator. So this is a great example, right? Mafex Eradicator of what you do when a character has a cape, and how you want to like move the cape a certain way to move in a direction with it. So because Eradicator usually floats ever so gently across the floor, he doesn't actually touch the floor like that. I'm actually going to pose him up in a way that when he's touching the floor or he's seen a certain way to look like Superman. This backwards tassel here. We're actually going to pose him ever so gently like this. A nice Superman-like pose when he's posing as Superman. And like, let's say the dust is settling. This is personally how I would do it, because the direction of the wind and the smoke would look that way. Sorry. There we go. Now, as you can see here, the smoke would settle upward and outward with the cape following, right? This one is just a little bit of effect in this way, but as you can see here, it looks like the dust and smoke is going that way. That's kind of what you lean on in storytelling wise with your photography. But you can use these a bunch of different ways. Like for instance, I could settle up another one in the background, right? Turn it ever so gently this way. Kind of now it has a more full picture. This is why I bought more than 2 sets, but only 2 arrived right now. But as you can see here, you get a lot more full of a picture. Now, if we remove this guy and we choose like a character like Cammy, right? Like let's say we chose Cammy. We can do it so that she's getting out of a smoke signal, right? There's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of set up and use this to your advantage. Or, right, let's say you want to be a shaman, or you want to be like a wizard. You are channeling smoke or walking through the smoke. This one's going to be a little bit more tricky because stuff like Mythic Legions are a little bit bigger, so it won't look as in place as the others. So in my case, I want to do like, and if I had another one, I would do it like this. I would put 2 more in the background, and I would have this little spot filled up as well too. But as you can see here, depending on how you angle it, but because he's a 7-inch figure, he's a little bit taller than it. So it does look better with smaller figures if you wanted to be that overarching like sense of it, right? So here's another great example. Let's say you're using 3 1/4 inch figures. Here's 3 1/4 inch Ichigo. I'm gonna assume he has a little 3 1/4 inch weapon, which I left behind. But the smoke looks and takes over in a very nice way. Let's actually lower it just a tad bit. See? With your little 3 1/4 inch figure, looks phenomenal. You can set a whole thing around it. It's really, really cool. And it will work with Warhammer ones. I feel like with Terminator armor, they feel a little too big, but with stuff like Legionary stuff or like Horus Heresy or 40K figures, you can get a nice little glimpse to how they would look. Really beautiful, really easy setting. I was gonna do like a size comparison, but technically I've kind of done that. So you can see how it kind of fits in with figures. But what I will do is an all-in-one, very easy. Here's our larger effects. Here's our smaller effects. We're gonna put a bunch of figures in the middle so you guys can see what you're getting into with it, right? Just to reiterate, here is a normal, oh, little Ichigo head is gone. Here's a normal 3 1/4 inch in there, showcasing. Normal 3 1/4 inch. Here is a Warhammer size 3 1/4 inch, or should I say 1/18 scale, right? As you can see, they look beautiful. Here we are with an SHF style. Here is Kamen Rider Buffa, Viva Zombie. Now we know the Reiwa stuff gets a little bit bigger, but most SHF is a little bit smaller. So as you can see here, he still looks good as well. Here is a domestic figure, a G.I. Joe. And if you don't want to use G.I. Joe, here is a Valaverse, which is slightly bigger. Right? Here's my main man, Big Ichigo, on a Mezco Wolverine body. Here is Mezco Doc Knock. And you saw Eradicator earlier. So yeah, and you saw Cammy. So I think we're in a good spot. Oh, you know what? Let's put him back in here. Here's my Mythic Legions Armory Experience Wizard. So yeah. I'm going to try to figure out other things I can pop in photos, whether it's like a Predator or an Alien or things like that. Want to have a little bit more fun and be a little creative. Might even put an Ultraman or Godzilla in there. But I can recommend these as excellent foreground, background, or setting pieces. It's one of those, if you don't have a dial, this can also work really well as for setting that piece for you. And again, light passes through it very nicely, as you can see here. And if you want me to change the color, there you go, showcasing it. So yeah, overall, I really love pieces like this. It definitely sets a nice example for me. I love doing things like that. It's one of those, I don't know, it just really sets the pace for me. So I love that. But I don't know how to explain it. I just like making art, and this really does call to me. So if it calls to you, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did all that and you made it through to the end, I'm gonna get to the point where I say please like, comment, and subscribe. Say something nice. If you brighten my day, hopefully it'll brighten yours too by watching the video. And as always, take care of yourselves. Be warm out there. It's getting cold again. It's colder here in New York. So as always, please be good, do good. Drink your water, guys. Later.